So in short, in the next 15 sessions, I hope to be completing the entire programming requirements of the A-level. Of course, I will not be looking at all the theory behind that. Like, for example, you have testing strategies and you have creating test data and the theory behind the drawing trace tables for various things, or those kinds of stuff, decision tables. We are not going to be dealing with that. But in terms of hands-on programming, we are covering everything that you would normally do in an A-level program. Plus, for A-levels, there are certain things which we do it in a very hypothetical manner. We do it in a kind of a conceptual, very imaginary sometimes manner. So when it comes to, for example, in A-levels, we have, I'm just mentioning it, I will not go into the detail, right? We did something on pointers. And what we learned there was just the idea, but our implementation was actually wrong, right? So what we're doing here is the real deal. So what you do here as pointers is what you will continue if you are going into computer science, mechanical, software engineering, mechatronics. All this stuff is going to be there, what you're doing now. So there is no undoing business. So basically we are undoing some of the stuff that you may have learned for A-level, and we are going to be learning the real thing, not just in theory, we are going to actually implement them, okay? So if at some point you have any doubt during the lesson, feel free, there's a raise hand button, you can ask a question, you can use your mic to ask the question. If you don't have the mic, like Chatri has a problem with the mic, if you have a problem, you're allowed to use text chat. But of course, please avoid chatting between each other. It's anyway disabled, but don't put public messages in here. Make sure that if you don't understand something, don't feel shy, don't feel backward. Make sure that you ask, that you clarify, and you learn, right? Because that's the idea. So this is what we hope to cover. So if, for example, you have now, for example, people who, by the way, just to tell you, 2 of our students, I was very happy that yesterday they got confirmation. When I say 2 of our students, I mean the people who finished the A-level, right? And who have finished the C programming. And one of those 2 have also finished the web development training. And they got into Virtusa yesterday, right? You guys must be knowing, some of you must be knowing Abdul Hakam. One is Hudayfa and other one is Vihanga, right? So normally they have a policy that they don't take people from school. They don't take people just out of school. They take the people who are in a university program, like who have finished the first year, who want to go internships and stuff. But the fact that they had this skill set, and of course it was a recommendation, and I'm sharing it now, but I was informed by them soon after the interview that they got the selection, that they were going to be taken in. That was great news for me, but I waited for them to tell me. So it was actually quite, they were very happy with these 2 guys. So to say, basically, it adds to your profile, right? I normally don't recommend people, but if you need a recommendation, if you deserve it, yes, right? So when it comes to interning at an early stage like that, it definitely adds into your profile, into your career, right? If you say you were for 6 months, 8 months, 1 year at a place like MIT or Virtusa or IFS or these places, doing whatever, right? It means that you have gone through a certain process of discipline and training, and meeting with the people, doing certain teamwork, certain things alone. So it's not to say that those are the only places where you can intern, but these are the opportunities you have when you are an early starter, right? So don't waste time. Try to make use of this opportunity. And since it was brought up by another parent, For example, MIT, local Millennium IT, we call it MIT. Millennium IT is a company that does a lot of software development, and the majority of their work, I have a colleague who used to be with MIT, meaning Millennium. He said that the majority of their work is involving C and C++. It's also the same version of C that we are using right now. Okay. So they are a very popular company, and anyway, that's all secondary. Now, we come to the main point as to why C and what's the difference between, people say C and C++. What's the main difference? Okay. So in short, when we talk about the language set, the actual original language itself is called C, right? But this is more like what we call an imperative language. This one which we call structured programming, which involves the normal loops and stuff. The key difference between C and C++ is that C++ involves object-oriented programming. That's the main thing, right? And it's a very powerful language, because when you look at all of the major software that requires ultimate speed and performance at a low level, which needs to access low-level hardware level stuff and manipulate threads and stuff like that, they're very heavy levels of coding needed. we use these languages. So whether it is building operating systems, up to now, the only language used to make operating systems has been C and C++. Or to make server software, backend server software, right? Like Apache and stuff like this. Windows Server, Apache Server, MySQL Server, PostgreSQL Server, all the servers that we use are out of C and C++. So it's a technique and approach to programming that we use, which makes C and C++ different, but otherwise it's the same syntax. In fact, it's the same compiler, right? So in the past, a C compiler was only able to only able to handle the C syntax, but today we have the compiler which can handle C and C++ as well. That's the main difference. So apart from that operating systems and the servers, we have a lot of tiny programs. For example, today most of you will not even realize this. For example, you plug a mouse or a keyboard, a simple thing, forget the mouse, a wired keyboard, you plug it onto the computer. It takes a couple of seconds to detect the keyboard and recognize the format of the keyboard. Is it a US keyboard? Is it a Dvorak keyboard, European, whatever? And to get the keyboard to successfully speak to the computer, so that only then, when you type your keys, that the computer will be able to respond. So without that program to do that, your computer will not successfully respond. And that program is called a device driver. So going back about 20, 30 years, we had to put in a lot of effort to install device drivers, on the computer. For example, one of the most hated things in the past for me was installing a network card, because today network cards come by default, as in it's a part of the motherboard, so the motherboard driver detects everything. Even the OS detects a lot of stuff. But going back to maybe 20 years or even 15 years, we had to do a lot of work, because the network card, so you get a network interface card, NIC. You install that onto the motherboard, right? It's physically connected on the board, done. But now the problem, at one time we used to get floppy disks, but later they said, go download the driver from the website. Okay, I have to go to hp.com or something. Now the problem was the network card is not installed, so I can't go to the internet, right? So I had to have a second computer, or before I formatted my computer, I should have first identified my network card, then gone to the website, download it. It was a huge task. So today we call it plug and play. You just plug it in and it's automatically detected. So all of the device drivers are done using C and C++. So this is why we call it a system level programming language, okay, where you have certain things that you do, certain kinds of programs. So writing drivers for network cards, or writing drivers for basically any device, hard drives, SSDs, or anything, all of them is done using the C language and nothing else. Okay. Now, when we come to, so that's basically where the language fits in, and the strengths of the language. In terms of the drawback, since this is a language which you have for doing complex activities, naturally it's a complex language. The syntax at a glance, if you look at a C program or a C++ program, a person who looks at a C program at a glance, not knowing the syntax, will think more brackets and symbols than anything else than words, which is in a way kind of true. But later on, within maybe the first lesson itself, hopefully you should see that every single symbol makes sense. They have purpose on the language, on the code. So it's not just for fun, not just to make it look complex. It's actually simplifying your work, right? So the drawback is that it being a language, a high-level language with low-level capabilities, the syntax seems to be, to a beginner, seems to be a little complex, but it's not entirely true. On the other hand, it is a compiler-based language. So being a compiler-based language, if you compile it on my computer, which is running Ubuntu, it will not, the compiled program will not run on a Windows machine. I have to recompile it targeting a Windows machine. But the idea is that a compiled program is going to run several hundred times faster than an interpreter-based program. So for example, let's say you have a program that needs to print 1 to 1,000 numbers on the screen, maybe 1 to 1 million numbers. So maybe it will take on the screen, because it has to scroll, it might take like maybe 2 seconds. But the C program will, if it's in Python, it will take 2 seconds. The C program will take maybe a fraction of that time, right? In other words, I did the test some time ago. I can't say it's the standard, but I did a test with in an interpreter version and a compiled version. The compiled version was about 300 times faster, right? That was some long time back. So you can have certain drawbacks because of it being a compiler-based language. And one of the other things is that because it is running at a low level, the syntax is very specific to certain activities. So for example, you can even access the hardware, hardware level, like registers and stuff with the language. But we are not going to program hardware out of this. We are not going to be doing a device driver. But with a little advancement after that, after the 15 lessons, you should be able to do something like that. Now, we come to the installation. So installation, I hope all of you have installed the software by now. If you have Windows, you are using MinGW, okay? So what is this MinGW? Actually, the compiler we are using is called GCC, right? Or G++ for C++. So when you say GCC, it stands for New Compiler Collection, right? All the G stuff, the New Compiler Collection. So the new compiler collection, the new is the organization that does Apache and Linux and all the things behind the new is that, right? G++ is the object version, the C++ compiler for that. Now, when you take this compiler on Ubuntu or any Linux system, in the case of Ubuntu, you have to do an apt-get install command just to say build essential. And you have the compiler available for you to do the task. But if you are using Windows, you have what they call a Mingw. Now, Mingw stands for minimalistic GNU compiler for Windows. Okay, so that's what it stands for. I hope all of you have installed it. When you are trying to compile larger projects, you may want to use code blocks. Or if you are going to be learning the GUIs and stuff, I would advise you to use code blocks because it simplifies your work. But if I'm doing terminal programs, like all of the code that we are going to be doing are terminal programs or console programs. And for that reason, I don't need to use code blocks for no real reason. It's just that I got used to working the workflow for me on Mingw, on Sublime Text is easier for me. I've got used to it. So I find it I find it convenient to work with that. Right, now we come to the very first C program. Before I continue, has everyone installed Mingw or GCC and some editor? You can use text chat and say yes or no. If you have it, say yes. If not, you're going to need it. Yes, you can use gedit. Gedit is the editor I started off with when I started Linux about 15 years back. And yeah, okay. What's your OS, Ibrahim Imran? Windows 10? Yeah, okay, fine. So you have the Mingw compiler. Put it into a path where it's easy for you to find it, like C colon and the root, the C colon and a fold, like C colon Mingw or something like that. Okay. Now, one of the other things is that when we are going to work with the console, with the terminal, we are going to have the commands, the terminal commands. So you will need to learn to use terminal commands. Now, terminal commands is not part of this program because the amount of commands that you will use are vast, but I want you to get used to it. We're done. So some of the stuff I will be telling you now with regards to installation, with regards to testing your first program ever, you are going to need to learn some Linux commands, some DOS commands, right? Because you guys are using Windows. If you're using Linux, you don't need to worry about these commands. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open my, you're all looking at my editor, hopefully, right? So I'm going to open a new file. I'm going to save this file as, let's say, just call it abc.c. Right? It's going to be called abc.c. Now, the file abc.c, watch very carefully because this step is going to be like the main thing, right? It makes a difference, right? So I'm going to be very slow with this part of the code, and then I will help you guys to do it on your platform, whatever it is, right? I don't have Windows on my computer right now, but I can show you the commands to type, and we will see where how your system responds. Also, I will give you a chance to look at, to share your screen so that the others can also, maybe one person does it on your end and the others can take a lesson from that. Now, The first thing is, let's come straight to the program. I want to print something. So my focus is this, right? My focus is this printing a message on the screen. Okay, so let's look at this print function. I used the word already. I said function. Now, printf is the command to use. So those of you who have done Python already know this. So print, in Python you have print. Now, when you say print, you have to use double speech marks, all right? You can't use single quotes, you have to use double quotes. This symbol here, the backslash and the letter N, it means new line, but what to do with that? Let's first forget about it. Let me just clear that off. It's just hello, Khalid, that's it. Now, I'm going to say at the end of it, I put a semicolon because this is how a statement in C ends. A statement ends with a semicolon, just like we do in some languages like Pascal and Modular and Java, right? So we put a semicolon at the end to show that the statement has ended. That's the syntax. If I don't put that semicolon, it's a syntax error. Okay, so we put the semicolon. Every statement ends with a semicolon. So now what is that syntax? Printf, then we say open bracket, and then we quote with double speech marks. We put hello, how is the message, and we're done. Okay. Now this is not a complete program. To complete the program, for the moment, I'm going to do something. I'm going to just say main like so, and I indent. So for the moment, I'm not going to explain to you what these words mean, but let's say for the moment, to make your program complete, a few things need to come. Just like if you take a book, you don't want to be studying the front cover, the back cover, the spine of the book, and the shape of the nothing. You want to be studying what is on the pages inside. These are your pages inside. But the cover is a structure that is helping the book to stay together with the spine of the book. So like that, you have certain things which you have to do, which make the program complete. And this is what we're doing. And the first thing we need to do there is a line that says include, and we use the abbreviated word stdio.h, and we're done. Once you do this, now your program is complete, and now it is ready to be used, ready to run. Now, I could have done this program using a few shortcuts to run it, to type it in using my editor, because the editor has a set of features for that, right? But I'm not showing you those features yet because I want you to get familiar typing this in. So now I put this first, include #include stdio.h, then I put void main, then I start writing my code. So line 3 is my code. And I can write all the hundreds of thousands of lines of code inside there. Now, it's a habit that after you open the main bracket, we put this indented line. We indent it. Everything is indented here. Right. Now, I save it. And then I'm going to go to my terminal. All of you see my terminal. Yep. I'll keep the code in view. Now, I just enlarged it thinking some of you may not see it. So I type the compiler command gcc. I'm going to call my compiler. If you just hit the compiler command and hit enter, you will, it's not going to complete anything for you. It says your input file. What's the input file? you're giving your source code file, this program that I have done. So I have, if I'm not sure what commands to type in, I need to have help. I can say -H. This behaves a little differently on Windows. We'll talk about that, but H means, oh, sorry. It wants double H, yeah. It has a huge amount of help. You can't, for a beginner, this is going to be utter nonsense, right? So don't worry about this. In many of the commands, if you don't know what to do, you can type the help like that. On Windows, you will do /? and you get the help. It won't work on Linux. Now, let's clear that off. Now, I want to compile my program. So I'm saying compile abc.c. It means GCC is the compiler. I'm saying call the compiler and compile abc.c. What do I want to do? I want to take that and compile it into object code, the -O. And then the object code, the machine code version, what is it going to be called? It can be called anything. If you want, you can call it ABC. If you're using Windows, it's going to have abc.exe. On Windows is CMD, yes. So now this one, Chaturi, 1 minute. I will show you how it's done on Windows, because these commands will not work the same way. So I'll show you. Now, if you're doing on Windows, it has to be abc.exe because it means executable code. So all executable code. If you look at the amount of executable code on your computer, the exe files, right? They are all compiled code. So they're like hundreds of thousands of those files on your computer, right? Now, on Linux, we don't use the extension exe. We just say abc, that's it. It doesn't have to be abc. I can say compile it into the object file called cat. I'll just use cat for now. It just stops like that. It means that it has been compiled. I'm going to purposely make a syntax error. I'm going to remove the semicolon, save it, go back to the terminal. You see there's a syntax error. Compile now. It says in function main, line 4, this is 4:1 is line 4. At the beginning here, it's saying at the beginning on this point, a semicolon was expected, but the bracket token was found. Okay, so it's actually saying that, it's saying it should be here. But even without putting it here, even if I put it here, it's not a problem. Let's see. It's not a problem, right? So I go back to my terminal and fine. Okay, here is the beauty of the language, right? Unlike in Python, blank lines don't mean anything here. Blank lines mean nothing here. Right. This is messed up syntax, messed up code. It's ugly, very, very ugly. Well, if you like to, you can do this also. This has absolutely no difference. It's the same code in the end, right? It compiles just fine. But this is not decent. It's not nice. Let's make it, get used to writing neat looking code all the time. Okay. With the 3-line piece of code like this, it's no big deal, but usually programs written in C like about 20,000, 25,000 lines, right? A standard normal program, right? So you want to have the indenting and all in place, but it's not a problem, right? Unlike in Python where everything indenting matters, right? So get used to the standard. And by the way, you notice my tab, right? The tab size here on the left is 4 characters. My tab size is 4 characters. That's a standard that I use with regards to all of the projects I work on. That's the standard I use. whether it is PHP, C, Java, Python, anything. My tab size is 4 characters. Because I find that less than that is not enough and more than that is too much, so it will start taking the code off the visual part of the screen. Right. So now my program is done. Let's compile again. Done. I want to compile it not as cat, I want to compile it as ABC. Okay. Now how do I make this work? I say ABC. If you're on Windows, you will see ABC. But since I'm on C, on Linux, I put a dot slash, then I put ABC. It's actually partly to do with the security and partly to do with where the program is being, the compiled program is being held and how it is being made available for execution, right? That's the Linux thing. So now I hit enter, there you are. Hello Khalid, and then immediately after that my command prompt is here. Now let's see why this command prompt came here and not on a new line. Like all this was on a new line, but this ended up here because I have not said to go to a new line. How do you say go to a new line? You say \n. Now let's understand what the \n means, right? \n is to say new line character. What's the backslash? It's actually n that I want. But if I put n like this, it is n is going to just print like this, okay? But I want to say \n because the backslash is called an escape code, an escape character. What is the meaning of that? Say, for example, you wanted to put the word 17-inch screen. Okay. Now there is a problem because the string has started here, the text has started here, and then it's closing here. So it's a problem with the syntax. So you need to say this is not the closing of the string. I want this part of a text, and this is the place where it's closing. So to say ignore that quote, it's what I meant was it's my own output character. So this is what I want to say. Escape, and you put this. So when you want to put a special character that has some meaning, you have to include the backslash, which is an escape code. So the escape character is called the backslash, and the n means new line. So when you want to put a new line, you say \n. If I put a \n here, it means put a new line between these two. Then if I put it again, it means put another new line. So when I go to compile and run, hello, then there is extra line, then the word Khalid. Right. So that's basically what we're doing. That's our first program. Before I go any further, I want to help the Windows people do this. Now we come to, let's see. First, Ibrahim, are you finished installing? Has Ibrahim finished installing? Is Ibrahim here? Oh, it's taking a long time. It can't take so long. Okay. Right. Okay. Now I want to start off with the very first exercise, very first simple thing. Okay. Now, let me start off by telling what to do for the Windows people. At this point, I want to, okay, I'm going to tell you what to do. First step, if you don't know how to go to the terminal directly, here's what you do. You hold down the Windows key with one finger, hold it down and then press the R key. So Windows and R, remember the shortcut. It brings up the command box where you can type a command. Now you type CMD in that box and hit enter, you come to the terminal. You come to the DOS prompt, as you would call it. Are we all there? Everyone follow my instructions. Very good. Now, at this point, each of you will have a different kind of a prompt depending on your computer setup. Some example, some people might have something that says C:\\, user X, whatever, ABC, documents. You will have something and then you will, at the end, you will have this symbol, right? Are we all, and the cursor is blinking at this point. Is that right? Okay. Now, your path may be different. Just for the purpose of verification, are you able to copy that path? This is the path, right? This is your path. Are you able to copy this? Not for any valid reason, just to check. If you can copy it and paste it in the chat, just for me to see if it's possible. If not, it's not a problem. Very good. Okay, very good. So there is C: user there. Very good. Okay. Now, C: means that it is your primary partition on the hard disk. So you can have a D:, E:, F:, depending on how you have partitioned your drive. / is how the path is given on Windows. But nowadays, they have kind of become compatible with Linux in this sense. You are also allowed to use the /. Okay. Now, let's not get too confused about it, but let's start off like this. At the prompt, I want you to say CD space /. That basically means take me to the root folder. Go to the topmost folder. Type CD / and hit enter. Now your prompt should change to something like this. So CD means actually change directory. You may have to document this somewhere. Write it, maybe open up a notepad or something, or a Word document and type it in. So CD means change directory, which is a shortened form. The actual form is CHDIR, change directory. But we don't need to type the whole word, CD is fine. Right, are we done? So we are all at the root prompt now, the topmost. Are we here? Everyone on the same page? Fine. Now, type at the root, dir, which is short for directory. Hit enter. You should see a list of files coming. Quite a few files. It wouldn't normally go beyond the screen. So remember, dir is to list your files. Okay, I don't need this command for me. This is for the Windows people, right? Now, I go to, if I say, for example, I want to know if I have correctly installed Mingw and where it is being installed. So I'm going to say dir, find for me Mingw. It may have a version, I don't know what version. I put a *.exe. Now this would search only in the current folder. I want to say go into the subfolders as well. It may have too many listings. In that case, pause. I don't need to say pause, no. Now try running this command, hit enter when you're done. It will start searching for Mingw with a version number somewhere. If you install it in the path where I said to install it, it should be C:\Mingw. There you are, wonderful. So you have the thing in the C colon, right? Wonderful, very good. So if you found it there, now remember this command, you will have to use this command quite often. So you better copy it down somewhere or write it down somewhere. This is what it's supposed to do, right? Now we go to change directory. I want to go into Mingw slash the backslash bin, because this, you are inside this folder, because you are in the root, you can just do this command. Or maybe this backslash might not be necessary. You can just say cd mingw slash bin. Right. Now, once you're inside there, if you say dir, that same mingw command, mingw star.exe, and hit enter, you should see mingw.exe with a version number inside there, right? At this point, I'm going to stop my screen share, and I want instead now, could I repeat the last command? You know, the previous command, dir mingw without the path. Hold on. Let's not, Hassan's one, okay. Yeah, it doesn't have to be cat, Hassan, it can be ABC. Let's try to stick to the source file name as much as possible. Okay, now I want Nugget to share the screen, please. Right. Let us not worry about code blocks, right? For the moment, you can just minimize it. No need to close it even. Just minimize it. Yes. Go to the terminal, please. Right. So go back to the root folder. Okay. Now find the path of mingw where it's being installed. Not backslash. It's /s. One moment. Don't type it again, Nugget. Type the up arrow key. The up arrow key will give the history. Repeat. There, yeah. See, all these are techniques that we learn. Now it's searching, right? Okay, why was it, what's the deal with the backslash and the forward slash? The thing is this, the dir is the command that says list or search. The rest of the wording there is to say, I'm searching for mingw. The slashes are called switches. Switches are always forward slashes. The slash means basically that some sort of an option is going to come. So S means search for subfolders as well. Okay, I mean, this is a lesson for everyone, because these are not things that you do every day, so you forget it easily, right? For me, I mean, I haven't used Windows in a long while, but since we have been using Windows for about 30 years, it's something that you just know, like you learn to swim and you know it, right? Like that. So it's still searching. It looks like it's still searching, yeah. But because once it's done, you will see a different message. But the point is this: I see that your computer has, number one, you know, observe the wordings, right? Everything as a C programmer, you're saying directory of C program files in brackets x86. That means you have installed a 32-bit version of code blocks, whereas Windows 10 is a 64-bit version. The x86 means it's an Intel compatible 386 upwards, meaning the 32-bit machines. If it was not 32-bit, it would be 64, right? There it should say AMD 64 or something like that. Now, when you go to the x86, it's so basically showing 32 bits. So what's the big deal? It means over time, well, let's say you do two programs, two quite complex programs. I mean, you do a single program, compile it, one with 32-bit, one with 64-bit. You will see a huge difference in the performance of the program. Right. Okay, it's done. Okay, so this tells us another story. Your Mingw compiler is installed inside the code blocks folder. Now, for me personally, going into that folder, having to type CD program files, that is going to be a painful task. Here is an easy way. Everyone watch, right? Because I don't want to repeat myself. So everyone watch the easy way to go into that folder. If you can copy that line, that's fine. If not, here is what certain students have done. You open the computer folder, keep this like this, right? And you go to the folder that says, yeah, open it up, C drive, program files x86, code blocks, yes, Mingw, open. So you go to bin. Right, now this is the path where your files are held. There is something else I want you to do. All of you watch this screen, this is very important. I want you to view the folder options. Where do you find that? No, there is a drop down box on top, just down. With those little bullet, I can't point with my mouse here. A little up there, okay, what's that? No, not that. There's a drop down down. What's the drop down say? Not there, not that. Where I get folder options. Where do you get the folder options? Take organize. The organize menu on the left. No, on the left corner. Yeah. The folder and search options. View. There, go down slow. There's checkbox there that says hide extensions of known file types. Uncheck that. Okay, just click OK. Right, now you see here, your files are now shown with the file extension, filename.exe, right? So it was quite a challenge because normally on Windows 10, the people, they see the option there where they can, just a small checkbox on the toolbar, but you don't have that there. Maybe it's some different setup. Is this Windows 7 maybe? Oh, that's why. Okay. So that's a little different. Yeah. Now you see your GCC is here, just right there. Okay. Now see, you have come into this folder, right? Now you, from here, you open the command line. Can you right click inside? Go to, is there an MS-DOS prompt somewhere? Oh wait, I saw something. Right click in the folder. Hold it there, let me read this. Send to scan, create. Nope. There must be an option here to open the folder. Wait, while you're in, click in the folder, click inside. Okay. Now not right click, just one click, left click. Okay. Now do Windows and run, Windows and R. Yep, try. No, it's not going. But some of the students used to do it like that and they get it. Go to organize again. Is there a folder option here? No. Okay, do it like this. Cancel this. Right. You see the line on top, the address bar, which has the path, right? Right click there. Copy address. Right. Minimize that and go to the terminal. Yeah. Type cd space and right click and paste. No right click won't work. Mouse won't work. No mouse. There you are. So this is your path. You don't need to say C colon, but it's no difference. It's the same thing. And there you are. So you can hit enter now. Right. Now you are inside the GCC folder where the executable compiler command is held. This is like an adventure having to do it the first time, but once you get used to it, you're fine. The other thing, if this is the only program you have here, you can change the path name, but don't do it from here because you will affect the code blocks program as well. Now, can everyone do what Nugget has done? Okay, wonderful. Why couldn't you follow? Can the others do it? Okay, okay, Nugget, for a moment, can we do this? Okay, let me finish this cycle with Nugget so everyone else watch, right? Keep watching, okay. Ibrahim, I'll come back to yours. Okay, before I go to Ibrahim, Ehsan, your hash include is stdio, it should be .h as well. Okay, now we're going to open a simple editor file. So you type right here, Nugget, where you are. Others watch, right? You type what I'm saying. Type the word notepad, space, abc.c. Enter. Ah, you don't have notepad. What is your editor you have here? You don't have notepad? Type just notepad. Surely you should be having it. Try from the run command. So go to the Windows and R, yeah, type notepad. It comes. That means the path is not set for notepad. Okay, that's going to be a painful thing to do. What is the other editor you have? Editor, you can try editor as well. If editor command is still there, we had editor command like 25 years back, but I don't know recently. Check it out. No, you don't have it. Okay, now you have a problem. Okay, in that case, you keep this path, this terminal like this as it is. I mean, I can tell you the way to get around this, but that's not going to fix your problem. Okay, do it like this. Type C colon backslash and then you say notepad to see if it'll work. Nope, it's not doing it. Okay, here is what you have to do then. You remember the path, right? You open notepad from whatever other method you can. Okay, fine. Now type the code in here. Hash include. Wait, let us maybe save some time by doing it like this. Okay, I put it on the chat. Yeah, just break the lines. Okay. Indenting is not done, but since you're on Notepad, I'm not too worried about it, right? Okay, fine. Save the file in that path, the same path as you have. Yep. abc.c. Not txt. No, txt. It's abc.c. Yeah. What is the message you're getting, and I'm not able to read it? You don't have permission to save this location administrator obtain. Okay, in that case, you make a folder in a root folder. You could have run this as administrator. That's the thing. That's why you can't do this. Cancel. Wait. Copy the code first. Copy everything. Right. Close this notepad. Right. Now take the menu on the Windows menu. Yes. Right. Now open the notepad again. So paste the code in here. Save it in a folder inside the C folder, C drive. Make a new folder. Not code blocks. Make a new folder. Call it C. Save the file here. .c, abc.c. Okay. Minimize the notepad. Now go back to your C folder, Mingw folder in the command line. Go to the root first and then change it. Yeah, so if you can type that in, cd where's the cd? Okay, now you know the path to go, right? Let's stop your screen share. Ibrahim, I want you to share your screen, please. Is this where you have, do me a dir? Do we have Mingw there? Yes. Not code blocks. I want Mingw. Go down. This is not how we search. Okay, cd wait, not CD. You go to say dir. Uh, 1 minute. I will type it in here. You look at the chat, right? So it's dir mingw star.exe/s. You don't have the file. Okay. Go back one level. cd space dot dot. Arrow up key twice. Enter again. No file. Go back to the root. Now arrow up key twice. Okay, check. There we are. It's inside that folder, not in the code blocks folder. So it's easy for you. Right. Control and C to stop this list. Right. Now you type cd space mingw/bin. You can type slash or backslash, it doesn't matter. Right. dir, that mingw thing. Do you have a history? Arrow key up. Up arrow, up arrow, up arrow. Yes. Enter. There you are. It's here. Now your MinGW version is different and you are also having a 32-bit version. Okay. Now, because your file is named such, here is what you have to do. Now, everyone take a look at Ibrahim's screen. Ibrahim, open Notepad like this from where you are. Notepad space abc.txt. Sorry, abc.c. You want a new file? Yes. Wonderful. Now, do you have the chat code that I gave? Can you paste the code in here, the C code? Nice. Save it. Close it. And you go back in the terminal. Right. Now, everyone pay attention. Ibrahim's C compiler is not named MinGW. It's not named GCC. Rather, he has the compiler named MinGW with 32-GCC. This is how he has it. So what you have to do to compile is you have to type MinGW 32-GCC, and then you put abc.c with output file abc.exe. I put the chat exactly how you should do it. Right. So no errors. So it's just coming there. Now all you have to do is type ABC to run the code. Check. Wonderful. So that's what we were expecting to do all that time. It was not a difficult thing to do. It's just that you see now different people have different versions and different path installation, different paths and stuff. So now up to this point, now Ibrahim, make sure that you write down these commands that you have used, right? Normally, this is the first lesson is a struggle because you have to work with the command line and you have to work with different paths on your computers. But once you have your path figured out, once you have the commands to type, that's it, right? So make sure you document this, because after that, if you lose track of this, if you don't practice, you can easily forget it, right? So now we go back to my document. I'm going to share my screen once again. Okay, you see, now here is the deal, right? This, what we did all this time to get this first line running. I hope that you have no problems with this. Now, watch this. We have what we call format specifiers listed. And then we will be seeing what to do with these format specifiers, right? I'm going to go to my program and I'm going to show you here. So if I said, instead of just printing the name, I'm going to say \t and then print that. So I save it and I go to the command, compile. These are your commands. Compile, done, and run. You see what happened here? You see this? This is a tab. So the \and T for tab. Okay. If I put 2 T's, it means tab, the space that you have by hitting the tab key. So what's the significance of this? Why do we need these format specifiers and stuff? Well, they are what make C a powerful language. Okay. The horizontal tab is that. Now, I have an example here to print the name and phone number and stuff. I don't think you have any problem in doing this, right? But you have to try out every single piece of program. Now, we come to this one, this example. Now, if you have any question, please ask me, right? Ehsan said that he has to leave I think 9:30, at 9:30, but I will continue this class till about 9:45 today, because I want to actually cover a substantial part of this. Now, the next thing is I'm going to replace that line with a new line of code. Where did you save your notepad file? You saved it in the same path as Mingw. I'm going to show you how to simplify that step for the ones who struggled a lot, especially NuGet, to simplify that step further. But I don't want to tell you this now today, because you will we will waste too much time on that. So yeah, in the bin folder, correct. So I'm going to show you later on, maybe in the next session, hopefully, how you can make that easier for you, right? To give you a clue, it's about setting an environment variable on Windows, right? If you want to check it out as something for homework, go ahead and do it. Right, for now, let's first look at this part. The main program starts on line 2, then we say int p, right? What does this line mean? Okay, it means I'm going to have a variable called p. Now, all of us know what variables are. And the type, the data type of this is, it's going to be an integer. Now, integer is a big subject, right? The size of the integer will differ from compiler to compiler, from version to version. Now, for example, in the older version of C, the integer was 16 bits. So in 2's complement, 16 bits will give you 2 to the power 15 less 1. That means it will be 32,766 or 67, the largest number, right? The largest number is going to be 32,767. So in our current version, you have it running up to 65,535, right? This is because it's, no, sorry. The current integer is 4 bytes. That means it get like about, it can run till about as 2's complement 2 to the power 31, almost some billion something, right? So this line basically does two things. One, tell that you are having a variable called p, and two, specify the data type. So C language and C++ are called strongly typed languages because we have very strict type checking. You can't have an integer variable and assign a string to it or a real number to it. It has to be integer. Okay, so real numbers are called float, by the way. Now, I'm saying the integer is 5. Okay. Let me take the integer as 32, not 5. No, we're going to do p into p, so integer is 5. I'm saying the square of p is, now remember, this is a string, right? This is a string, and I want to put a new line. But before the new line, I'm putting what we call a format specifier. The format specifier here is percentage and d. Ehsan, okay, you can go. Assalamu alaikum. So the format specifier is percentage and d. Now, what it means is that it's a decimal, meaning denary integer. A denary integer. By the way, you will never use the word denary anywhere except at the Cambridge exams. We call them decimal integer. So decimal is the correct word for denary, which is used everywhere in universities, in software engineering, everywhere at work. It's a decimal integer. The reason they probably let you use the word denary is because they didn't want you to get confused with decimal or integer, right? Because mathematically decimal means a number with fractions. So here we are saying decimal as in a base 10 integer. Okay, so decimal means base 10, right? So it means square of p is percentage d. What happens is this: it will take p into p and put the result in place of this format specifier. So if I wanted to make that appear within square brackets, I just put it like that. Let's see what we get when we go to the terminal, right? In the terminal, run square of p is 25. You see the power of a format specifier. Of course, this has been borrowed by many languages. This has been taken into Java. This has been taken into Python. It has been taken into Pascal. The format specifier way of writing, this format has been taken into a lot of languages, including PHP as well, and C#. Yeah. So now you understand this, right? Any doubt in this? Any doubt in this? No. Okay. Now, watch this. P is 32. 32. Now we come, P is 32, right? You want to share your screen? Okay, 1 minute. Let us see your screen. 1 minute. Let's see your screen. No, that's not the way you do it. Just because you change the file, your program was not updated. the file source file is updated, your program needs to be recompiled. So keep this as it is. Keep it as it is. Don't click here and there. Go to the command line. Arrow up and come to the compilation line. Do it again. Error. Yeah, go to the source. Go to the program. You're saying PRP. What is PRP? It's P into PNet. Save it. Control S to save. Done. Okay, run ABC. Just ABC. There you are. Okay. Chaturya, when you type ABC, you are calling the exe file. You can only run executable files. C is not compiled. It won't run until you compile it. That's what we said for theory, right? Compiler, object code, remember? Okay. Now watch this. P is 32. Watch very carefully. I'm just going to print P, which means it's got to compile, print. P is 32. Fine. Don't lose sight of the screen. This is your future. I'm going to say, instead of a D, I'm putting an X. Compile, run. Who can guess what happened? You're allowed to look at the document I gave you. Yes, yes, Chaturya, correct. So simply by putting the format specifier as X, you're getting the value in hexadecimal. Remember? Hexadecimal. Now watch this. 65. D. $65, which is decimal or denary integer, decimal integer. I'm going to say C. Sorry. There we are. Because the ASCII code of A is 65. So I'm saying take the value 65 and print it with a format of a C, meaning format specifier says C, that is printed as a character. So in this manner, you can print a lot of stuff which is not normally, okay, what happens here? 13. 13 is a non-printable character. What happened? 13 is enter key. So it did a carriage return and the closing bracket came there. Right? The closing bracket went there. So carriage return means the cursor comes to the start. It's brought from the concept of a typewriter where you have the drum-like thing. Yes, don't say S got deleted. No, not S got deleted. Remember, the typewriter has a drum called the carriage on which the paper moves, right? So every time you type a letter, the carriage moves. When you say you push it to the corner, the carriage returns. So carriage returns when you push it with the handle. If you have seen and worked with a typewriter, when you push it by the handle, it turns the handle and goes to a new line and then return. So carriage return consists of two things. On a typewriter, it could be only carriage return, meaning come to the start again, or come to the start and go to the new line again. You can even specify go to the new line but not to the start, right? As a result, S was overwritten. Yes, that's the right way to say it. Okay, so this is all stuff that you use when you have to work. Let's say you're writing a printer software or something. No, it's not magic. Okay, all right. So right, we come to, that was it, that was that. So now we go to the next one. Let me show you the next one. I hope everyone is following. Please read this carefully, right, after the class. I have some examples here in this one, exercise 1.1, 1.2. Okay, 1.2. Can we do 1.2, everyone? Do 1.2 now. This one. Let me take this code to the program. Let me first. Because it was on the word processor file, these double quote symbols are not going to work right. Like so. And likewise here. Yep. So now it's okay. Let me compile my code. So the first output 5 plus 6 is because it's printing here 5 plus 6, line 4. Okay. Then here it prints the string 5 plus 6, just like the previous line. And after printing equal, it's putting a format specifier to say put a decimal value here. What's the value? 5 into 6. Okay. Then we go to the next one, line 6, print %d plus %d equals %d. So the 5 comes in place of the first one, 6 in place of the second d. Third will be 5 plus 6 in the third one. The last one, x is 22/7, and they're asking to print this value. So it's giving you the answer, which is 3. Here is a rule in C. What is the rule? Remember these words. An integer that is divided will always give an integer. When you divide an integer, the answer is integer. When you divide an integer, the answer is integer.